Finally! Breakfast Goji! There is meaning to that nickname, and I will explain it soonish, kind of. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Bandai movie monster series, Godzilla, from the upcoming film, Godzilla -1. And really quickly, Myles Goji will be standing at a little bit over 6 inches tall. Here's a closer look at that for anybody who might not believe me or think I don't know what numbers are. Most of the time I don't. And now let's take a look at this tag. We've got a lovely image of Myles Goji on the front of the tag over here, standing in front of what can only be described as an early 2000s alt-rock album cover. Godzilla 2023, Godzilla 2023, Godzilla 2023 again. Back of the tag, Bandai Namco, Movie Monsters series, other stuff, side of the tag cut out to Godzilla's dorsal fins, inside of the tag, God, I hope the sequel is called Godzilla Plus 2, and then have no Godzilla in it. Alrighty, so, Myles Goji, yeah, there's a couple of things I'm gonna go over within this video, but we're gonna do the standard norm first. We'll start off with paint, because as far as paint goes, it really doesn't leave the front of the figure at all. Everything from this point of his head moving into his dorsal fins, his tail, the center of his tail, the tip of his tail. There will be no paint featured. The detail, though, as to be expected, is utterly fantastic. Am I the only one that thinks the detail over here kind of looks like a shriveled up scrotum? I mean, I have one, so I can draw comparisons to whatever I like, right? But the details, yes, they are fantastic. Bumps, grooves, the whole 9 yards, the dorsal fins. Probably one of my favorite sets of dorsal fins on a Bandai Godzilla figure. A Bandai vinyl Godzilla figure, because Jesus Christ, relax, Bandai. Alright, so starting at Goji's feet, we've got the armor-plated looking skin, and we've got fully painted toes on the tops and sides, because they are unpainted on the undersides. Who cares? Now we're going to move up from the feet into the thighs over here, and I'm really digging how Bandai handled the paint job on this guy. It's nice and minimal, but it still manages to make those details pop. Like an early 2000s 3D movie, it makes everything a hell of a lot more obvious, and I dig it, and where was this paint job for Kaiser Ghidorah? I know, Toho, Bandai, you view Final Wars as essentially what it was upon release, a box office disaster, but whatever. Moving into the Goji crotch and abdominal section, again, we've got that light essence of paint here. I really think it was very well done because it doesn't feel like there's too much in one place. Some may view that as a bad thing, but when you do a paint job much like this, clumping doesn't always look that great. Moving into the character-defining plot over here, Godzilla's got some juicy-ass titties this go around. Almost looks like he's got nipples, too. But we're not gonna go that far because I know people on the internet like to take Godzilla into some weird-ass places. But again, the detail, it's fucking fantastic. You know, Godzilla's skin has always been characterized as keloid scarring, something to that extent, right? And save for Shin Godzilla, I feel like this is one of the few Godzillas where he actually kinda looks diseased. To a point where his skin almost looks a little swollen and disease-ridden, somewhat. And I feel like that gets communicated rather well with how the shoulder blades look over here. Very rocky and mixing in with the folds of the skin and everything. It looks cool. I like it. Goji's got some messed up elbows, and I kinda wish those were painted too, but we do get some painted claws up here. Yes, on both hands. And as I usually say, thank you, Bandai. I really do appreciate that. It looks cool. Moving into Godzilla's neck, we're going to get more of those paint applications, highlighting just a small spot. But this is really one of those figures where the detail kind of just takes it all away from the paint because there's just so much to look at. I'm gonna need a friggin' 12K camera to properly represent all of this fantastic work that went into this design. Mind you, a design that I wasn't exactly crazy about when first unveiled. For anybody who watched that video and is now watching this video, I've warmed up to this design. I'm a lot less let down that it's not a wholly new design, you know, that thing argument. Just one of those things where I really needed to look at it for a couple of days and really appreciate the vision. Vision accepted. Let's go Yamazaki. And now I can talk about why I call him Breakfast Goji. And I apologize if I ruined the image of the figure in telling you all this, but his eyes look like freshly cracked eggs with a bit of pepper in the center. I'm sorry, Tokyo Toy Banzai. Now I can't stop calling him Breakfast Goji. Speaking of which, Mr. Tokyo Toy Banzai, if you ever rip off a tag like that in one of your videos ever again, I'm going to be rather upset that you didn't do it. Brutaler. Brutally? More violent? Rip that shit off and scream fatality. Goofy nickname aside, I really do like how Bandai did up his eyes over here. The white silverish paint with the yellow and the black pupil at the center, that's just really cool, and I wish Bandai would do that a bit more often, but at the same time, I'm kinda glad that they don't, because I imagine we'd have a lot more wonkadacious looking Gojis on the market. But now I guess we could take a look at the teeth and the inside of the mouth. The teeth are painted pretty nicely. They are very, very fucking small, so them not being entirely neat across the board is justifiable. Mostly because I didn't spend $140 fucking dollars on this. And I like that we've got a decent front row of teeth for Goji, yet no teeth right there. I wonder what happened. Does he get punched in the face? But anyway, the inside of the mouth is going to be this very glossy magenta color, as will the membranes on the side of the mouth. The entirety of the inside of the mouth is going to be featuring that same vibe with some decent detailing for the tongue in the back of his throat and on the roof of his mouth. Good stuff, Bandai! And now that we're done taking a look at Breakfast Goji's goofy scrambled eggs ass face, we can take a look at the top of the head, which is where we will see the last of that spicy mustard sandy paint. Mine is a bit uneven. I don't know if that was intended or not. Yeah, it was intentional, as it seems multiple copies only have it on one side rather than both, which means that has significance. And if you saw Tokyo Toy Banzai's review of this figure, he mentions that it's battle damaged, like a scar, a burn, or something like that. And somehow I forgot that while I was recording this. But as you can see, yeah, just a bit uneven. I don't know, I feel like it kind of just fits with this figure, which I really don't mind because the paint job on this figure is minimalized enough. And I don't know, this makes it kind of look like Godzilla's got a bit of a burn wound on his face. He's kind of looking a little like Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail. Get that guy to do a Godzilla roar. He could do it without a fucking mic. Let's take a closer look at the back over here. Oh yes, I've really grown to like these dorsal fins. Yeah, they look a little on the ridiculous side, but I don't care. Again, I've really warmed up to this overall design. I've gotten over the fact that it's not a brand new design and all that same stuff. And I'm also just a really big fan of how this figure turned out in vinyl format. He just looks great. Oh yeah, on the bottom of the foot over here we have Bandai China and some numbers. And we have trademark and Toho Company Limited with no year, as Tokyo Toy Banzai also pointed out, which is interesting. I'm gonna give it a solid X for not telling me what year it is on the bottom of his foot. And that's what the tag is for. That's also what fucking Google's for, so I can't really justify it. But anyway, paint and detail are going to get 2 solid stars. The detail is fantastic. Get an eyeful, use your ocular sacs, your sightseeing spheres, and just take it all in. It's great. The paint job is minimal, but I really do dig it. And now I guess we can get into articulation. Nothing at the head. Full rotation at the arms, Control-Alt-Delete, and we're gonna get full rotation at the legs over here, which is extremely smooth. Oh my god, yes! Nothing at this portion of the tail because it is glue sealed and rather thin vinyl, and then nothing at this portion either. Articulation is exactly as I expected, so hey, another solid star. But we're not moving into size comparisons just yet because we have to compare this guy to Ry Goji. Yeah, as I'm sure and hope you can all see, they're similar, but they are quite different from one another. Dorsal fins, tails, hell, even the feet, it's blitheringly obvious now. What was really throwing me off at first was just the shape of the head. They both looked very, very similar, and they still do, but clearly Minus Goji has a little bit more going on for him. Ry Goji's dorsal fins are a little bit more temperamented to that of a classic Godzilla. whereas minus Goji's dorsal fins are just peak. I have a sports car and a very small penis, and my $1 million sports car makes up for it. In a cool way, though, not in a douchey way. And just look at those tails. Ry Goji's got a bit of a all-thickened tail, while minus Goji over here kinda slims out towards the tip. Ooh, sorry there, buddy. And again, the foot size. Ry Goji, he's a bit more wider, and this guy's a bit more on the condensed side, and his nails are longer. And just look at the difference in hands. Ry Goji had, as Luminous stated, boiler room gloves, which I can't unsee now. Thank you, Luminous. Now he's Boiler Goji to me, and has been since that day. I kind of like it. It's just kind of funny. This man's got these big-ass hands, and this man's just got these little tiny balled-up fists. It's adorable. And again, the more you look at the heads, the more you can kind of see just how they treated this new Godzilla design as a puzzle. They took specific elements from Ry Goji, either beefed them up, slimmed them down, or made them bigger, and it kinda just works. But now we have to talk about the most important comparison of all. That very important comparison being... minus Goji's got the juicier titties out of the two. Yeah, Ry Goji's got a bit of the flat Vin Diesel looking titties. Meanwhile, minus Goji, he's got a little bit more junk in the trunk that's located on the front of his chest. Yeah, I'm serious. On a more seriouser tone, I really like how the necks are very similar to one another. They both have that weird three-sectional looking look to them. Same with the abdominal to crotch areas on both of these figures. They both have kind of the same vibe. And then when you look at their lower half, it's just kind of funny how minus Goji became more of a thigh guy, meanwhile this guy was more of a foot guy. I'm taking a little bit too much time to explain all this. All I really want to say is this. Do minus Goji and Ry Goji share some of the same attributes? Absolutely. Does it make them the same design, Rob of the past? No, it doesn't. I can clearly tell the difference between minus and Ride, especially now that I have them in hand. Ry Goji's still the better figure though. Look at all that friggin' green ass paint. And now we can move on over into size comparisons. If I keep doing this, this is gonna break. I mean, it's already cracked. Fuck. Shokugan Shin, Movie Shin, King of the Monster Series Shin, this absolute prune, Ry Goji, Ry Goji. My prior review, the limited movie monster series Godzilla 1975, links in the description. My review before that, the limited movie monster series Titanosaurus 75, links in the description also. Super 7 Godzilla, and Godzilla X Chun-Li. Thick thighs, all-out attack. Melee. Saves the Earth. Unleashed. And that's about enough out of me there, friends and neighbors. I've talked enough. How do you feel about this figure? I quite like it. I really wasn't expecting to make this long of a video on it. I was actually expecting it to be kinda on the short side because the promos, while nice looking, I really wasn't feeling girthy video, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, when next we meet, I have no idea what's coming out after this. This might be the only video coming out this week, who knows? But you absolutely can expect a King of the Monster series figure review from me, first since 2019. Keep it going, Bandai. I've got a lot coming in between now and the end of the month. There's gonna be a whole bunch of videos coming out, both Godzilla and not Godzilla related. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Peace. The